Title: Emeka's Bitter Lesson. In a quiet village surrounded by green hills, Emeka lived with his wife Ada and their young children. He was a prosperous farmer, respected by his neighbors for his hard work and wealth. However, despite his outward success, Emeka's home was a battlefield of whispers and manipulation. Emeka's mother, Mama Nenena, was a kind and frail old woman. After Emeka's father died, she poured all her love and energy into raising him. Now, in her old age, she lived in a small hut near his home, depending on him for food and companionship. But Mama Nenena's once warm relationship with her son had grown cold. The change started when Ada entered Emeka's life. From the moment Ada moved into the household, she viewed Mama Nenela as a burden. She despised how Emeka respected his mother's opinions and often sought her advice. Ada wanted all of Emeka's attention and decisions to revolve around her. One night, while the moonlight spilled through the windows, Ada planted the first seeds of suspicion in Emeka's heart. "Emeka," she whispered, her voice low and cautious. "Your mother is strange. I've seen her muttering to herself at night. I think she's a witch." Emeka frowned. "Ida, don't speak of my mother like that. She is old and lonely. Perhaps she prays or talks to herself because she misses company." Ada shook her head, feigning fear. "You don't understand, Emeka. Look at how our crops have failed this season, how our youngest child has been sick for weeks. It all started after your mother came to bless the house with her prayers. Think about it." At first, Emeka brushed off Ada's words, but the poison she planted in his mind began to grow. Every misfortune, a broken tool, a lost goat, a sleepless night, seemed to point back to his mother. Ada fanned the flames, adding more lies each day. One afternoon, Emeka stormed into his mother's hut, his face twisted with anger. "Mama, what have you done to my family?" he yelled. Mama had seen and heard much more than I had seen. Mama Nenena looked up, startled. "What are you talking about, my son?" "Don't pretend, old woman," he spat. "Ada says you've cursed us. Our crops are failing, our children are sick, and it's all because of your witchcraft." Tears filled Mama Nena's eyes. "Emeka, I have done nothing but pray for you and your family. I am your mother. How could you believe such lies?" But Emeka's heart was hard. He turned his back on his mother, refusing to bring her food or help her fetch water. Days turned into weeks, and Mama Nenena grew weaker. She would sit by her hut, hoping her son would come to his senses, but he never did. One stormy evening, Ada confronted Emeka again. "Your mother is the reason we're suffering. You need to chase her out of the village before it's too late." Blinded by anger and manipulation, Emeka dragged his frail mother out of her hut that night. Rain poured down as Mama Nenena begged. "Emeka, I am your mother. Have you forgotten how I raised you? Please don't do this." But Emeka was deaf to her cries. "Leave this village, witch. You are no longer welcome here." Shivering and heartbroken, Mama Nena stumbled into the forest. Days later, news reached Emeka that his mother had been found dead under a tree. The villagers whispered about how her body showed signs of starvation and exposure. At first, Emeka felt relief, thinking his problems would now end. But instead, his nightmares began. Every night, he saw his mother in his dreams, her voice filled with sorrow. "Emeka, my son, why did you do this to me?" His crops continued to fail, and his children grew sicker, Even Ada seemed to change, her once sweet demeanor turning bitter and cold. She no longer respected him, blaming him for their misfortunes. One day, as Emeka sat alone in the empty fields, he was visited by the village priest. "Emeka," the priest said, "you have brought a curse upon yourself. You dishonored your mother, and the gods do not take such actions lightly. Until you seek forgiveness, you will know no peace." Overwhelmed with guilt, Emeka broke down in tears. He went to the tree where his mother had died and built a small shrine, offering sacrifices and prayers for her forgiveness. "I was blinded by lies and my own foolishness," he cried. "Mama, I am sorry. I failed you, and I will carry this regret for the rest of my life." Though the gods accepted his penance, Emeka's life was never the same. His crops recovered, but the warmth and joy in his household were gone. Ada eventually left him, taking their children with her. Emeka spent his remaining days tending to his fields in silence, haunted by the memory of his mother's love and the bitterness of his betrayal. And so, the villagers whispered his story as a warning. Never let pride or manipulation turn your heart against those who love you most, for some mistakes cannot be undone.